everybody, happy Tuesday. Here we are going live in For the Love of Dragons. My name is Araya Anra and I come to you every Tuesday. Try to anyway, unless I'm deathly ill. And so some of you know I've missed a couple weeks and had an interesting experience this morning which has led to what I want to talk about today. One of the things I get asked often about is about a dragon's power. And so I've pulled in, I've got the silver dragon, who's the heartline with me. I've got her symbol pendant on, got her beside me here. I've got the gold dragon here backing me up. And then the silver and gold dragons, I put them up on either side of my space here so that they are present in the sphere, even though I have my Christmas decorations here now. So what do the silver and gold dragons have to do with coming into ourselves, coming into our power? What do any of the dragons have to do with that? And why are we so afraid to come into it? I've talked many times on this, you can find in the archives, why we're afraid of our power. Why as dragons we really fear coming back into it, because a dragon's power is massive. And I can talk for probably 45 minutes to an hour just on finally when we finally get to starting to merge with our dragon and coming into ourselves and coming into who we be, which for many of us that, especially in this group, are dragon. And we find some tidbits of our power. A lot of times we feel really, really strong just as individuals, that we tend to be maybe outspoken or leaders or control freaks or type A personalities, that there's a lot of dragons that have tended towards those ways of expression of power that may be misaligned or may not be serving the highest purpose, but they are an expression of knowing how big you are, of knowing that you need to be out front, of knowing that you are all that. And it's not about ego in that sense, it's about just a part of yourself that's trying to express. So when we come into our fullness as dragon, and we start really feeling the eminence of the amount of power that's there, and then we realize that this whole quantum shift is coming through the heart, that everything is through the heart line. And how do we bring that power back into the heart? I had a real insight this morning just on my own personal journey. And I've been going through layers of this over the years, as we all do in our expansion, that we are all continually progressing forward in this ascension journey towards living fifth dimensionally. It's not somewhere outside of yourself. It's really time to be doing the deep core work and get to it. And so for me, I had a very interesting moment in the last few weeks. As some of you know, I was very, very ill. Went deep into my lungs. I was at a place where I felt like I lost my breath. And when you lose your breath, you get scared. You feel very, very weak. You feel very, very vulnerable. Anybody that's ever gone through a choking or a near drowning or anything where they lost the breath, they know that feeling that comes in. It's like a panic, and it drops you to your knees and you get really worried. Well, outside of that, when you are a strong person, so for me, I'm very physically strong. I work out, I do all kinds of sports, I take care of myself, I eat organic, I do all the supplements. So when I got hit hard by something physical, it took me by surprise. It really threw me for a loop that I could be so deeply affected. And this morning what happened is we've got a beautiful snowstorm going on, so I've got my snowflake today because it feels Christmassy coming into the season where we finally have snow on the ground here in Reno. And that means that the walkways and the driveways need to be shoveled. And I wasn't going to do a lot, but I felt like, you know, if I'm going to get my lungs back, because I'm still struggling to get my oxygen saturation, I'm still struggling to get my full deep breaths and what they actually are normally like. And I thought, you know, if I'm going to get my lungs back, I need to start exercising my lungs. I need to start really pushing them a little bit further than I have been around the house, more than when I walk the dog, and I haven't even done very much of that. So shoveling just a very little bit got me dizzy, got me feeling weak, got me a little scared. And I came inside, and what took me by surprise from that was that in letting yourself really start to feel when those come up, when you feel vulnerable, when you feel scared, when you feel like, whoa, I can't get my breath, when you feel like I am totally not in my power right now, I can't do anything about it, this is the transparency. It's part of the communal harmonic that we're moving into. And when I came inside and realized how deeply it affected me emotionally to feel so weak, to feel so powerless, to feel so breathless, and it literally brought up a release of really deep sobbing that is an old wound deep inside of myself from having to be vulnerable and weak that goes way back. And I knew, I was told, and I really had a sense of it, that from that illness I was healing a very old deep trauma. So for me, it's about weakness. Because I'm so powerful, because of who I be, the energy work I do, what I live every day with my dragon, having gone through the work, having gone through the shadow layers, to get to a very deep core layer that took me by surprise. Took me into the place of really realizing that, yes, we're afraid of our power, but we're also deeply afraid of our weakness. And where are you most vulnerable? Where are you most weak? Where is your heart the most fragile? Where are your lungs and your breath and your power the most fragile? These are the questions to go into right now. Why is this coming up? We're exactly a week before solstice. The energies started a few days ago, around the 12th, that are building towards that. And I've had some information come in, so I'm actually very inspired. Next week on the solstice, I'll announce it now, and then I'll make sure to do some posts this week in the group, to do a live meditation with the dragons next Tuesday, the 21st, 12/21/21. On the solstice. I'm going to start right around 11. I know I came on late today, but it's always somewhere around 11. I'm going to try on be on it on 11 o'clock next week, so that we're actually meditating over 11:11 moment. That in that space, this is a preparation, and so there's a connection here. There's a really big personal piece coming up on this solstice. We've had a powerful solstice 2020. We've had a powerful solstice 2012. And those are part of this process of what's happening and completing. So I will talk more about that next week at 11 when we start for the solstice meditation at Pacific Standard Time. Live and for the love of dragons. It will be on the YouTube for replay, but if you want to be on it live, catch it in the group. And this is connected. This piece is my personal build-up for my own purging and cleansing, moving into that. This solstice is about a personal completion level. And so my personal piece coming in is, I've been broken down physically. I've been broken down for 3 weeks of illness, and now I can't even recuperate. I can't get my breath back. And it may take a month, it may take 2 months, is what people keep telling me. That really irks me and gets me to the core and makes me frustrated and vulnerable and weak and angry and sad. And until I let myself feel it, and how deeply affected I was to be so weak physically that I got dizzy shoveling about 20 feet of snow. And it's not a lot of snow. It's heavy, but it's not a lot. That for me, I would normally do my drive and a couple other driveways, and to come in and break down and feel, because when you break down and you allow the vulnerability with yourself, with the emotions, we go into a place where I knew I was crying and I didn't even know why. I just knew that it was about weakness. And I don't have to remember the why that got it implanted in my being, in my body, in my cellular structure, that's part of my soul extension, that those deep old traumas, some of them stem from previous incarnations, be it in this earth plane or otherwise. Some of them stem from that, and because they're embedded in the soul, they actually come through in almost every incarnation after that, until we actually deal with and heal it. So for me to go into a space where I was just so afraid of my weakness, that explains something to me as a dragon. Because a dragon is powerful. A dragon is immense and able to do so much and so capable. But what I'm being shown is the weakest part of me is my heart space. To be utterly vulnerable, to be utterly transparent with my heart and with the power that extends from that. And that by bringing my power down into this heart chakra, where my lungs are, where my heart is, where my whole new spherical heart chakra is that is about opening it fully and allowing all to come out. And when we get to our weakness, when we get to the truth and the depth of where we feel weakest, and that's your point of contemplation, it won't be the same as where I feel weakest. But it's the cord, it's the connection point that's keeping you from your full level of aspect to connect into your power through the heart. So there's just a little tidbit of work on that. Take that home with you to sit with. Allow yourself to be triggered by whatever is coming up emotionally, especially as we approach the holidays and there's family stuff and there's money stuff and there's work stuff and there's snow shoveling stuff and whatever's coming up. Let those emotions be triggered to the core until you feel it hit deep into the heart chakra and you know that you've hit. And allow yourself to see, what is the core of my weakness? Because it's through the core of your weakness that you're going to find the ultimate aspect of your power. And that's going to lead you into a closer relationship with your full dragon self and all of the dragons around you. And I get asked often, how do I get into my power? How do I begin to work with my dragons? And this isn't to sell books. This isn't about like pushing my work. But hands down, the reason that the dragons came through is a guidebook format back in 2007, released early 2008. They wanted to be able to work with people because it's as you work with the elementals and the intergalactics and the dragons from Orion, which are the silver and gold and the copper, and the ones above that, that as you go through that foundational hierarchy of working with them, it's actually the tool to lead you to working with your own dragon, your own guides, who's coming in to be with you, because you learn how to breathe with them. You learn how to call them in. You learn how to receive their gifts and recognize how quickly and efficiently they work. That by everything that the elemental dragons do, and you don't have to work through it in order anymore. It's all about intuitive, following your gut, go into the book, find what's calling on that day. But when you do that, and you work with each one in the book, it is opening energetic parameters within yourself that allow you to start going deeper within yourself. And that is going to lead you to remembrance. It's going to lead to releasing a lot of the peripheral sort of garbage or debris that's in your field that needs to be released, needs a shift of like just a fresh wind to that's what the dragons can do. They bring in that fresh wind. They bring in that like spring cleaning energy so that you can start getting to the deepest, darkest core shadows, so that all the debris stuff doesn't keep coming in again like a layer of the onion. They will help you get through a lot of the surface debris. And so by working with them through that, through the book, The Dragon Within, it's on dragonwithin.com in every format you could wish, in 3 languages right now, coming out in Dutch soon. So you got French, English, Spanish, you got paperback, hardback, ebook in 3 different formats. Whatever works for you. It's a inexpensive tool, comes with a full CD of 13 tracks to get you aligned into how do you work with dragons? How do I start to open that in my field? Because as soon as you open your field to that, you're going to start feeling more of your home dragons, more guide and guardian dragons that you weren't aware of before, coming into your field closer and closer because you're learning how to interact and work with them and receive. Wow, what does it feel like to have a dragon dive into your body and go all the way through it? It's amazing. What does it feel like to have 4 dragons do that simultaneously? It's incredible. And you can feel energetically all the cleaning house that they're doing. So I encourage, if you don't have the book, go on and get it, dragonwithin.com. If you do have the book, what other tools are out there for you? Are you using it? Are you using any of the guided meditations? Are you using the Oracle deck? Because the Oracle deck has taken now from the book that has about 13 dragons in it directly to work with to 44. And you've got all 44 all the way up to the Pleiadians to assist you and work more directly with. So that's why I keep coming up with tools. It's not to sell stuff. Believe me, it's not a moneymaker to get everything printed and then be getting them out. It's really about creating tools for you guys The guided meditations are not expensive. You can listen to them over and over and over again for years and always get another layer. So the biggest thing to take away here is over the next week, as we move towards solstice, hopefully you can come on or catch the replay of the meditation next week, but feel and tap into the building of the energies between now and then. Tap into and feel and inquire. Put it out as a point of contemplation from your heart. Intention is everything. What is my weakest point? Where is it? Where am I the most vulnerable that I've not been willing to see, that I would be blindsided by if I actually could see it? Let yourself be blindsided. Let yourself be taken into that, and it may shock you how it comes up. Mine came up by shoveling snow and being really, really physically vulnerable and weak. Yours will come up differently, but I guarantee it will come up if you put your intention out to know. And that's a really big piece for this personal clearing that's happening on the solstice as we move forward, and how much is available of the quantum field as we are ready to receive and move into it. It's all about you. It's all about your 0-point doorway when you're ready to go through it. That's the 5D New Earth. It's not a place that we're waiting, like everybody's going to just shift into overnight. Every one of us is moving into it as we're ready, and we're getting tastes and glimpses. And now that you're like really close to that 0-point doorway, or you're feeling it, and maybe you need a boost. That's what the Quantum Flight program that starts January 25th is about. 8 weeks of Launchpad with all of the initiations into all levels of the dragons, and all the new information that's coming in the last year that is directly about our ascension process, our physical body, our physical cells, our biological cells, how they're going to shift, and getting us energetically where we need to be. Because the majority of the work that I do is energetic. Yeah, the mental pieces come. Yeah, the meditations are there. But you know, even now, there's a transmission coming through that you're receiving in your field right now that's generating from my field that is about, let's start this process. Let's start the next week, and hopefully you're feeling it. Just open your heart to receive it right now. We are opening the gateway for the sphere that's going to come together officially and complete next Tuesday. But it's starting right now. I can feel it. So open to receive that. Allow yourself to set your intention to go into your weakest, most vulnerable space, to be shown that final link for you. And maybe it's not the final link, but maybe it's a big one that will take you to that final link, or that much closer to it. Because we're all in different phasing. We're all going through in different timelines. But I guarantee the timelines are merged. We're coming out of this solstice in a single timeline forward. So there's going to be a lot of shifts in the world start happening. You've already noticed in the last year and a half, but things are really going to start ramping up and streamlining into that singular path that you've chosen to be on, 3D or 5D. Feel yourself aligned to it. Hold your intention. I'm going into New Earth. I'm going into the fifth dimensional quantum field. I'm going into alignment with harmonic, community, ease, abundance, grace, flow, my highest self, my full being, however you want to term it. I'm excited. I'm feeling big shifts in myself. Hopefully you could feel that as I shared today. And I look forward deeply to doing a meditation with you guys next week. If there are tools that you need from me, or you want a discovery call, I do 20-minute free discovery calls. Know that my calendar only goes 3 weeks out. So my earliest stuff is in January right now. You might need to keep checking back to see when they're available. But if you need a direction pointer, that's what discovery calls are for. If you need a reading, that's what those are for. There's 20-minute dragon readings, there's 75-minute full sessions. There are all kinds of tools available, and it doesn't have to be one-on-one with me. It can be through any of the programs, or I've got online classes, whatever. But it's time. It's your time, and feel it over this next week. What are you going to gift yourself going into the solstice? It doesn't have to be about Christmas. It's about this holiday and the giving season. What are you going to give yourself to really move forward? It's all up to you. And hopefully I can be here and be in service to you on some level. I look forward to next week's meditation. I will say goodbye for now. I appreciate my dragon family. I love you guys being here so much. And I hope that this resonated and brought you something. And I know no matter what, there's a transmission coming through. So allow that energy to come in over the next week and to build until you feel the call to be part of that meditation, whether it's live or on the playback because of your work schedule or your kid's schedule or whatever. That's why it's always in multiple formats, because everybody in this day and age needs it their way. And it is about having it your way. It is about coming into your stream of abundance in the way that it flows to and needs to flow to and through you. All right. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Have a great week. Love you guys. Bye.